the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, rise and grind at DMV. It is Sunday morning and we are waking up to mostly cloudy skies out there, but sunshine will be returning to the DMV. So definitely keep it here. We'll talk more about that in just a bit.
All right, coming up this Sunday morning, arrested and charged, the mother-daughter duo now suspected of killing a grandmother in their family. What police are telling us about how they found the victim. Plus, could what you're buying in the grocery store be a signal of how soon the U.S. sees a recession? What one major retailer is saying about what people have stopped purchasing recently. Then later on, it was a center meant for rescuing animals. Instead, it ended up looking like this. Coming up, we're going to take you inside the investigation of this local animal rescue and why the director of it is now facing several criminal charges. Well, good morning. Happy Sunday to you. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on DC News Now and waking up here with a live look at Reagan National Airport. It is slowly but surely going to turn into a beautiful day today. It's cloudy across the DMV today, but as Brittany Ward has been saying all morning long, it's not going to stay that way the entire day.
Absolutely, Joe. We are going to be seeing sunshine and cooler temperatures. So today is definitely the pick of the weekend and just in time because it is Sunday Fun Day. Radar right now showing you the entire DMV. We did had a coastal flood warning in effect for DC. Now they bumped it down to an advisory, but we are tracking some showers just off to the south there in Orange and Culpeper. They're going to continue to roll their way out of our area. We'll still be holding on to the clouds for the next few hours before sunshine returns this afternoon. Temperature wise, we are fairly mild as you are stepping out the door here in the nation's capital. 61 currently in DC, 63 as you head over there to Frederick. And then we're still in the mid to upper 50s as you head further along that I-81 corridor. Now, think back to this time yesterday. We were already in the 70s and now we're cooler, about 14 degrees cooler today than we were yesterday. And highs today will struggle to get out of the 70s, but at least we'll get the sunshine. So definitely keep it here, Joe. We'll talk about when those 80s will return in the forecast.
Yeah, what a temperature drop there. All right, Brittany Ward there in the Weather Center to start us off. Brittany, thank you. We're going to begin with some shocking news being felt in one Prince George's County neighborhood after an elderly woman there was killed. And developing this morning, our Dave Laval is reporting that investigators are now connecting these two family members to her murder.
Neighbors who knew Margaret Craig describe her off camera as a nice woman who would take time out to talk to you if she saw you. That's why they're stunned to hear the people accused of Craig's death are her daughter and granddaughter. Prince George's County Police believe 44-year-old Candace Craig killed her mother, 71-year-old Margaret Craig, back on May 23rd. The following day, her daughter, 19-year-old Celia Hardy, is said to have helped her mother try to get rid of the remains. Officers responded to Craig's home along Hill Road Friday for a welfare check. Police said they received a 911 call from someone who had not heard from Craig for several days. Investigators told us Candace Craig answered the door and allowed the officers in the home. They smelled something decomposing when they went to the basement and found the remains. Craig is charged with first and second-degree murder, while Hardy is charged with accessory after the fact. Both remain in the custody of the Corrections Department. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner is working to confirm the victim's identity, along with the cause of death. Investigators are still trying to determine a motive. Neighbors told us they never witnessed any problems between the family. You're asked to call Prince George's Police if you have any information, or Crime Solvers if you wish to remain anonymous. In Landover, Dave Laval, DC News Now.
All right, Dave, yeah, certainly a mystery there. Thanks so much for that. Well, we are going to stay in Prince George's County this morning where police say a suspect is behind bars after a string of carjackings left two people shot. It started when police say in Hyattsville that they were notified about a stolen car that ended up being involved in a crash. Then they say they were called for two attempted carjackings. All in all, two victims were shot along with the suspect. All were transported to a local hospital. Well, the pattern of teen violence continues. Police in D.C. now saying the suspects behind two armed robberies last night are indeed teenagers. Both of those robberies, take a look at the map here up on your screen, happened in separate parts of Northwest Washington, D.C., and this morning neither of the two armed teenagers are in custody. They say one of them even has an extended magazine. Well, speaking of teens and violence, it is an issue that many people say is getting out of control. So much so that this past Friday, two teens who have seen the violence firsthand attended a Stop the Youth Violence rally in Freedom Plaza, right by the White House. Some who spoke with our team say they have friends who have even been arrested, shot, or killed. And one 16-year-old telling DC News Now that there has to be a shift in focus.
Generally, I do think that the violence is just out of control in general, right? When it comes to DC and when it comes to the world, some things I think that we can do to help is be honest, be genuine, and try to actually care for our community.
Yeah, that march is just another example of the growing number of calls for lawmakers to make some sort of change. Well, with just 2 days to spare, President Biden signed a bill last night to lift the nation's debt ceiling. It's pen to paper that prevents something that has never happened before: the U.S. defaulting on its debt, essentially running out of money to pay its bills. Now, one thing to note here, even though the crisis was averted last night, the president didn't hold a public signing ceremony at the White House with Democrats and Republicans. Instead, he signed the legislation in private in the Oval Office. So one of the things included in the debt deal was the completion of the controversial Mountain Valley Pipeline in West Virginia. Currently, the 303-mile pipeline, which will be used to transport natural gas that is drilled in Ohio and Pennsylvania, is 94% complete. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin says the pipeline is not only beneficial for America, but also helps out the people in the mountain state. But even with approval to reach the finish line, there are critics who say legal action could lie ahead. Environmental groups say construction has led to violations of regulations meant to control erosion and sedimentation. Now, with just 20 miles until it's complete, the company says it could be finished by the end of the year.
I think it's frankly an outrageous giveaway that is unjustified.
I am thrilled that Republicans and Democrats came together to complete the Mountain Valley Pipeline and shore up American energy security. West Virginia is truly America's energy MVP.
A number of environmental groups have previously held protests and tied this up in court. They are threatening more legal action ahead. All right, let's talk about pension funds. They are always on the mind of people who are nearing retirement or already off the job. But now there are concerns being raised in West Virginia as investment companies are hesitant to invest in coal and gas-based industries. State Treasurer Riley Moore says that doesn't work for the Mountain State. Many national banks are refusing to include companies in their portfolios that do not meet certain climate benchmarks. Moore says with West Virginia's ties to coal and natural gas, he's not interested in investing with banks that are not coal friendly.
They're forcing dollars towards their liberal ideas instead of returns. What I'm focused on is returns for the people of the state of West Virginia.
Yeah, the state treasurer says West Virginia will invest strategically to maintain a higher rate of return. All right, let's take it to Virginia now, where Senator Tim Kaine is raising red flags about mail services in the state that he says are delayed. According to Kaine, the problems in Virginia could cause problems to the well-being of other Americans all across the country, and that if the current delays continue, they could point to a much larger issue.
And look, if it was just a magazine or an ad, okay, maybe that's not so bad. But this is medications. This is veterans benefit checks. These are mail items that people really depend on.
Kaine also wanted to bring attention to the fact that the USPS should be more accountable for their actions in this post-pandemic world where COVID is no longer an issue. All right, new this morning, Costco's chief financial officer saying he's seen a disturbing trend in grocery sales. According to the CFO, less shoppers are choosing to purchase beef or steaks. Instead, they're buying cheaper cuts of meat like poultry and pork. The Costco CFO says these buying habits typically indicate a recession is in the works. He also says more people are buying canned goods like tuna and buying more store brands over name brands. And major retailer Walmart is closing more than a dozen stores across the country this year. You might remember Walmart's 8th Street location here in D.C. closed back in March. The question being asked, what does this say about the state of retail here in the U.S.? Stephanie Haynes from News Nation working this morning to answer that question.
We watched shoppers walk up to the doors.
It was a total shock and surprise.
Really sad.
See the closed sign and turn back around.
It's closed forever.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Walmart Neighborhood Market in Overland Park, Kansas has been closed for good.
Never in a million years I'd think this would close or see a Walmart closing. Right. And why?
It's just Walmart. Walmart's been around my whole life, and you go to Walmart for things you need, so you don't think twice about it being open or closed.
It's one of at least 20 underperforming stores nationwide. The company says it is shuttering this year, including 4 in Chicago. Other big box stores are tightening their belts. Target, Best Buy, and Macy's have all reported some brick and mortar closures. Target financials show fewer people are visiting the store, and executives expect store theft to cost them $500 million. And as more shoppers turn to online retail, we could see more stores shutter.
So we're going to see that continued pressure on retailers to close their doors, especially in those urban areas. By and large, we've just got too much retail space in this country right now.
But there's a winner in all of this: dollar stores, now ramping up. Dollar General reportedly plans to open more than 1,000 stores this year, and Dollar Tree more than 600.
At the end of the day, Walmart and these other stores, they're not nonprofits. They're in the business to make money. And if they think a certain location can't meet their expectations in terms of profits, they're going to close the doors.
All right, your time now, 8:10, and overall today will be the pick of the weekend, no matter where you go. This is a look at your beach forecast. We're heading down to Virginia Beach. Highs today, upper 60s. Water temp is going to be in the lower 60s as well, but we do have a high risk current, and overall highs to clouds will be the trend for the morning before we start to see sunshine. If you're heading to the Chesapeake Bay, still holding on to upper 60s as highs, and then we're starting to see more sunshine the further off you head closer to the water. Overall, today is going to be a beautiful day for you guys to get outside and enjoy it. And Joe, it looks like we're holding on to the sunny skies as we head into the 7 days. So I'll definitely talk about that in just a bit.